Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Doesn't it feel very festive, just the Christmas around the corner? And it sounds like a very perfect time for me to reflect upon all the books that I read this year. That's right, we are going to see my top 10 books that I read in 2023. When I say that I'm going to talk about my top 10 of 2023, it doesn't mean that I'm going to talk about books that released in 2023, but rather the books that I personally read in this year. Without further ado, and at number 10, we have a Greek mythology retelling. I am a huge sucker for Greek mythologies. The love for those books started with obviously Circe and the Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. She set a huge trend for those kind of books. This is a kind of a famous author, and she has written, I think, three or four books with a woman's perspective in Greek mythologies. I'm talking about Electra by Jennifer Saint. So this book is off the bat not at par with Circe or Song of Achilles in the writing style, but nonetheless, I kind of enjoyed this one. In this particular story, we follow Electra and her mother. Electra kind of loves her father very devotionally, but her mother is bound to take a revenge on him just because he killed their elder daughter and gave her as an offering to a god. He's kind of a cruel father, but Electra doesn't understand that, and her mother's perspective also is far fetched for her. So, this is an intense story of love, passion, vengeance, and violence. This was such a good read for me. The more I sat with the book, the more I liked it. It was really very good, but the author plays the melancholy of the lives of the woman in the story too much that it is at times it is a little bit depressing, but nonetheless this is a story that has to be read and that has to be spoken about. So at number 10 is Electra. If you like Greek retellings, you should pick this up. At number 9, there is a book that I recently finished just yesterday and I am literally in awe. That is none other than the A Coat of Mist and Fury by Sarah J Maas. This is a well loved and it is a famous book and author in the sense that it is really blowing all over internet whenever she drops a book. It is kind of a booktube favorite and a bookstagram favorite. So I kind of picked it up on a whim last year. I bought the entire set without even reading the first book, but luckily I enjoyed the first book, but it literally took me an year to pick up the second book because just look at its size. It was intimidating as hell. So finally, when I got time to read it, I really loved it. In this story, I cannot really talk about this story, so I'll tell you what the first story is about. It follows a character named Farah. Farah accidentally kills a shape-shifting Fey wolf, and she has to be punished for that. So she is being snatched away from her family and being taken out to an entirely different world. And it is a kind of Beauty and the Beast retelling, if you can say. So this is the second book in the Aquat series. The first one was The Coat of Thorn and Roses, and the second one is A Coat of Mist and Fury. So the third book in this series is A Coat of Wings and Ruins, which is also equally massive. I am super intimidated, but also I want to get to it very soon. In this story, we follow Farah, Rysand, who has my entire heart, Cassian, more and many more. The high stakes, the fun, the violence, the love, the angst, the hate to love relationship, everything in this book was so enjoyable, so perfect. So this has to take a place in my list of top 10. I have also read the Crescent City series by Sarah J Maas, but I prefer Akator series more than Crescent City because the Crescent City has a little more of smut and little more of world building, which is little less. And this one I think is very accessible to people who are new to fantasy in the Sarah J Maas world. So I hope I'm going to finish the entire series in 2024. Let's keep the fingers crossed. Moving on, at number 8 is a book that I spoke about in, I think, in a previous video about spooky books, which is really atmospheric and really great. That is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by VE Schwab. So this book is about Addie LaRue. She is about to get married, but she doesn't want to get married really. So she makes a kind of a pact or a deal with a devil to escape the marriage. And the devil offers a pact that she can be immortal, but she'll never be remembered. Everyone who meets her will always forget her once she turns the face against them. So she lives the life like for 300 or 400 years. After that, one fine day, one particular man remembers her name even after she's left them. She calls the devil Luke, and she constantly has a conversation throughout this book with him. I loved their conversation. It is really good. I kind of enjoyed staying in the mind of Addie LaRue, who is really frustrated but also never gives up her soul to the devil just because she's weak and fragile. She lives in a hope that one day she will be remembered, one day she will fall in love, one day she will find a man to live for, to have a life that is worth to die for, and everything. So, this was really great. This is my first VE Schwab book. I've never read anything else from her. So, I am impressed with VE Schwab and I hope to read much more from this author. So, this has become one of my all time favorite book now. So I am probably going to reread in the upcoming years. If you want to read something that just pulls you inside the story and takes you off in a different world, this book does it for you. So pick it up if you want to just get lost in a wonderful story with a wonderful set of characters and wonderful conversations. Moving on, the book that is in the seventh place is the one that I read in the very beginning of this year. That was the first book I read this year, and it was a huge book and it was such an intimidating book. I'm kind of proud of myself for completing it, even, and that is the Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoyevsky. This is a Russian translated book to English, and this is my first Penguin Black Spine edition. I kind of enjoyed reading this particular story in this edition. I have annotated this like anything. I took notes. I followed the character development. It was all so very good. In this translated Russian literature, we follow Raskolnikov. Let's call him Raskol. He is a destitute and desperate former student who wanders the slums of St. Petersburg in Russia and kind of commits a random murder and feels nothing about it. He doesn't feel guilty or remorse about it. He imagines himself to be beyond all the conventional laws. But as he embarks on a dangerous journey with the police inspector who's investigating this murder, he kind of getting pulled into the guilt and the reality of what he has done. It is really good to travel in Raskol's mind. The entire story is such a great tribute to mankind's tug of war between right and wrong, and it is really, really good. This is one of the easiest book to read despite its length. As it is my first time reading a Russian literature, I was super intimidated, but this eased me up. Lot of things happen, lot of conversations are really very important. How the character's arc has to be maintained in a book, that you have to learn from Dostoevsky. He's really, really good at writing. I intend to read all the books that he has written. However many books I may read from his writing, Crime and Punishment is going to be one of my favorite, and this is all-time favorite now. So I cannot let this go off my heart. If you're looking for a Russian literature to start off with, pick it up. It helped me to get more interested in Russian literature. So I hope this will be a good read for you. At number seven is Crime and Punishment. Moving on to the next book, that is, I think, number six. This is a middle grade book, perfect for the season with the Christmas tree at the background. And this book is really the perfect one to read, which is The Green Glass House by Kate Milford. The story follows Milo, who is an adopted kid, and he and along with his parents are owning a inn that is exclusively for the smugglers of the area. One fine day during the holidays, where when they are not expecting lot of guests, suddenly lot of people come in and check into the smugglers inn, and Milo kind of thinks that there is more to just a holiday vacation for them, and some kind of intervened story is between all these smugglers who are just decided to stay during a snowed in holiday time, and they all end up exchanging stories by the fireplace. It is all so good, so cozy, so atmospheric. You will literally feel the chill in your spines when you read this. This is one of my all-time favorite now. I guess all the top 10 books are all my all-time favorite books now. This is really great. If you want to read a book during the holidays that will make you all cozy and so happy when you finish this, this is the book that you should check out. This book also will fall in a kind of cozy mystery genre. So this will be perfect during the Christmas time. We are in the midway in this video now. The fifth book that I want to talk to you about is yet another atmospheric fall or autumnal read. This is really airy and atmospheric in every way possible. I loved every bit of it. That is the London Seance Society by Sarah Penner. This is a new author to me. I read her first book, The Lost Apothecary, 2 years back, I guess, and I immediately had to buy this book because I loved the first book of this author. And this author did not disappoint me this time around also. I literally finished this book within 2 or 3 sittings within a day. It's really good, really fast paced, really atmospheric, and it's a woman centric story. So the story is set in 1873, I guess, and the story follows Lena, who tries to contact her dead sister. So she is set to learn the performing of seances with a lady called Wadeline, and Wadeline is being called back to London to perform seance for the London Seance Society's founder, who's been murdered and dead now. So both Wadeline and Lena are coming back to London, and they have to embark on an impossible and dangerous journey to solve both the murders. There are so many twists and turns in this book. You will keep on turning the pages. It is the best example for page turner. I have gotten mixed reviews for this book. Some people did like it, some people didn't like it, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. It has its own flaws, but apart from that, I really loved the book, the story, the kind of narration it goes through, the dual perspective timeline, everything was so good. This is a kind of perfect book for me. So, in this top 10 books, if you are finding one or two books that are speaking to you, then this also might be a good pick for you. So, pick it up in the best possible season, that is a fall. Otherwise, anytime is good to read Sarah Penner. At number 4, we have a very peculiar, unique book that is kind of quirky in its title itself. That is the I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. I am not sure about the author because I don't have the book with me right now. I have lent it to my friend. But that is the first ever manga that I have read. And Japanese stories generally are very, very close to your heart. Like it speaks to you. They play with the basic emotions like anger, love, and kindness. Everything is so basic, but they are all so powerful. But I never expected to read a manga and cry. It was really very shocking to me. It is both sad and sweet, and everything was so beautiful. The story follows a high school student who accidentally discovers that one of his classmates is going to die with a terminal disease. So, this secret is bringing them close as she is living her final days. The storyline itself is so depressing, but the book is not all depressing. The only part where I cried is when she dies. It's not a spoiler because she has a terminal disease, but everything around that line is so good. The character arc is so good. Generally, Japanese stories are really, really very sweet and very, very authentic in the emotions. All the Japanese books that I have read has made me cry. So I kind of have a soft corner for Japanese books. But committing to a kind of series of manga is very, very intimidating to me. So I have a request for you. If you have any kind of recommendation that have standalone mangas, please do comment below. I would love to know about the standalone mangas out there because I have no reference. I have searched, but there are very, very few that I can find. So I would love to know your suggestions. Any standalone mangas that you think I would like. The next book at number 3 is a book that I bought out of a whim because it had lemons in its title. I love lemons and immediately I picked it up. That is As Long as the Lemon Tree Grows by Zoulfa Katouh. I'm not sure I'm saying the author's name right, but let's roll with it. The story follows Salama and Kenan. Both are 18 and 19-year olds. They are stuck in Syria while the Syrian war is going on, the revolution is going on. This story is so good. I don't know how to explain this story. They are just trying to escape the horrors of Syrian war and just try to smuggle their way out of Syria and find a peaceful life out there somewhere in just any land is much better than Syria right now for them. There are a lot of content warnings for this book. If you're going to read this book, please do read the content warnings. There are a lot of things: suicide, body gore, war, mass murder, bombing. everything is really a hard topic to read. So be sure to check the content warning and then go ahead to read this book. But nonetheless, I am very happy that I have read this book. Although it was dealing a very hard topic, I really like this kind of stories because this is a story that is being lived by many people right now. It was very relatable just because I was watching the news and it had all the Israel wars updates and everything. I could literally see children and women, everyone was uh, fighting their way to live their life amongst this war. It was really horrible. Despite all the depression, all the toughness in this book, it has a happy ending. If that helps you to read this book, do check this out. It is well written. It is one that everyone must read to understand what one go through during a war. There are certain books that you read and you remember for some time and then you eternally forget. And there are certain books that you read and then they stick to you for your lifetime. This is one such of book for me, and that is Emily of the New Moon series by LM Montgomery. This is the second book in the series because I don't own the first and the third book. I read it in Kindle. This book took place in my winter recommendations. I will try to link that video down below if you want to check it out. This story follows Emily. Emily loses her father at the age of 11, and then she is being taken as a foster with her aunt, and all the aunts are so controlling, and she has to adjust to a new world, and she is getting acquainted newly to new friends and new environment and everything, and she loves writing. Most of the chapters in this book are diary entries by her. It is really fun to read the way she learns to correct her spellings, the way she learns to punctuate, the way she learns grammar of English. It's all really good. We literally grow up along with her. The first book in this series is the best in it, although the second and third are really good, but the first book is my favorite. I can read and reread this book a number of times. This is a book that is kind of everlasting. You can read this book after 200 years and still relate to Emily, still love the writing, still just get lost in the awe of all the nature's description. It is really good. I kind of suggest you LM Montgomery in general. She's such a beautiful writer. Her writings are lush and green, and it will literally suck you in its world. I don't know what else to say. This book just stuck with my heart for the entirety of my life. So if you haven't read any Montgomery books, try reading Emily of the New Moon series and Anne of Green Gables too. They're all really great, and I can't wait to dive into more of this author's writings. Well. We have come to the last book of this video. This book is going to die with me. It is so great, so good. It's a surprise. It's a non-fiction. This book gave me immense hope and immense trust on mankind and its humanity. The book that I'm talking about is Happiest Man on Earth by Addy LaRue. This book is a kind of autobiography by Addy LaRue. He is a Auschwitz concentration camp survivor. He's been beaten up and caught by the German army, and he's been put on the concentration camps for almost 7 years. He has survived unspeakable terrors and unimaginable, horrifying things that he had to endure during those 7 years. He has survived the Auschwitz camp, he has survived the death march, and he has lived up to the age of 101 years. I think he wrote this book during his 98 or 99 years of age. He has said that it took him that much of time to heal from the things that had happened to him, but he made it a point to smile every day despite the things that has happened to him. He has lost his family, he has lost his friends, he has lost his country, he lost everything in his possession. Despite all that, he has lived the best possible life with so much love in his heart. He has constantly shared his stories so that we understand what actually happened in Auschwitz camp. And also, he has become the voice of so many people who are yet not healed from all those horrifying things. When I started reading this book, I kind of lost all the hope on humanity. How can a man or or a human race together can kill so many people just because of their community or religion? But later, when the way he gets up and has lived his life after all that has happened to him and all that has he given to the society, It is really, really, really inspiring. It is going to stick with me for a very long time to come. I'll never forget this man. I'll never forget this face. He literally feels like my grandfather, and it aches my heart that he and everyone in those camps had to go through all those horrible stuff. Reading about this makes us realize what kind of world we are living in and the importance of humanity and love that we have to uphold in this world. So that is pretty much it, guys. These are the 10 books that topped my list this year. What are the best books that you read this year? Please comment below. I would love to know all your best reads. So until I see you again in the very next video with a bookish content, keep reading. This is Sushmita signing off.